Good morning, good morning, good morning to all of y'all. I just wanted to come on here and introduce myself. I know that sounds crazy because y'all have watched videos of me for probably a while, but it, I never really talk about myself. It's just, little me. But, I hope y'all are having a good morning. I'm trying to get there. I had really bad anxiety this morning and last night I couldn't sleep. But, just I want to come on here and introduce myself. I know, kind of silly, but I am Charlie. As y'all know, I'm a mother. I am I'm a wife of 16 years. I'm a daughter. I'm a sibling, a sister. Um, I'm a friend. I'm an addict. I'm many things. I'm a Christian. Um, I try to do the best that I can every day, and I fall short a lot of days. I fall short probably almost every day. I have been in the past before I found recovery and an amazing sponsor. I was blessed to have a great sponsor, a great therapist. I have been a liar. I've been a cheat. I've not been a good person. I've been selfish, egotistical, lots of things. But I guess to start off, I'll give y'all a quick little background about me. I was one of five children. I was the youngest, four girls, and then I have a baby brother beneath me. Um, all but me and my one sister, we all had different fathers. Um, I was a ward of the state. I don't know if you know what that means. It pretty much means that situation where you may not have parents that can take care of you, or you know for one reason or another, the state has came in and has taken custody of you and placed you among, um, usually it's foster care. I was lucky that I was placed with my grandparents. Um, the only side, like the only negative part about that is, unfortunately, I don't have the closest relationships with my siblings because we were kind of divided among family and um, their fathers, if they were alive, or other family members. But my dad passed away when I was in sixth grade of an overdose. Um, I did not know it was an overdose at first. I was just told cardiac arrest. I knew that my dad was going to rehab and that, you know, because of that, I was really excited about the future. But on his way to rehab, which was going to be in Louisiana, New Orleans, the van had flipped over and he had already had back surgeries, which kind of caused a lot of his addiction, but he was also a really bad alcoholic. They detoured, and when he got dismissed from the hospital, he checked himself into a hotel here in Georgia, Savannah Suites, and he didn't check back out. We found him 2 days later to pick him up because he wanted to be baptized before going into the treatment center. So that was a blow, but I was blessed to have my stepdad, who had been a part of my life since I was 9 months old, and also my grandfather. Um, Unfortunately, right after that, my stepfather, then we found out Easter that he had throat cancer, and by summer he was gone. Um, and then the hits just kind of kept coming. Then I lost my grandfather, and then I lost my sister. My big sister, she was the oldest of all of us before we were wards of the state, and that all happened. My sister Scarlett was amazing. She was the like epitome of like a big sister. She was funny. We called her Big Red. Her birthday was not just a week, y'all. It was a month. Scarlet Palooza. All that month, she more than anything in this world wanted to be a mom, and she finally was able to carry full term. And when she was in labor, she unfortunately went into cardiac arrest and passed away, as well as my niece. And so I've had a lot of loss, but my husband's never left my side. And I've also had a lot of blessings and good things come into my life because of the addiction I saw growing up. I told myself I would never be an addict. I would never do it. And I set to prove everybody wrong. I was the first one out of all of my mother's children to graduate from high school. I was the first one to go to college. I, I first went for pre-law, then changed later on in my life for pre-med. But I never intended to be an addict. I stayed away from illicit street smug substances, but I had dental surgery was the first thing, and I was prescribed medication, and I really liked it. I didn't just like it, I loved it. I loved it. And it took a lot of it took a lot for me to realize like that was a problem in itself. And so once I became pregnant with my son, luckily I had a doctor that I felt I could be honest with, and they prescribed me um, a, a substance to taper off, and that way I would have a healthy, safe pregnancy and not have to deal with that again. And then I was doing good, doing good. We bought our dream home. Like we got all the custom finishes, everything. Um, Raising our family. I had a new Cadillac. Like life was good, and I then thought that I was safe, safe to have a drink after work. And it started off. I remember the Skinny Girl margaritas. If y'all Housewives fans, I'm a huge Housewives fans, and that kind of went on there where it went from just having a drink after work to could not wait to get off of work to have a drink, and then would drink from the time I got off of work to the time I went to bed. And that happened for a few years. And it luckily, in a good way, bad way, COVID was my breaking point. We lost our home before they had put out like the protections for mortgages and things like that. So we lost our home. I ended up moving back in with my grandma, and my husband and my son moved in with his mother. So we were unfortunately separated at the time. Our families are like Hatfields and McCoys. Like literally, it's weird. They really are like the Hatfields and McCoys. Do not get along with each other. Never have them. There will probably never be a ceasefire. I hope one day, but there probably won't be. But I was still in school at that time. I went back to school. I was finishing my residency, uh, and my grandma was saying like I was not okay and other things, and it took, like I said, COVID and what happened after that for me to get help. I finally, at the end of 2020, beginning 2021, went into rehab. And I tell you, at first, I did not feel like I needed to be there. I first went there because, honestly, for a very selfish reason. I thought it was going to help me in a situation I was in, a predicament I was in. But once I got there, I realized I very much needed it, very much so. So I did the work. It took me a couple rounds of like trying to do the work because I just was not getting it. I was not opening up enough. I wasn't being vulnerable enough. I just I wasn't being able to really look at myself and identify the problems with myself. Instead, it was everybody else's fault. It was that I had a hard childhood. It was that, my dad passed away. It was all these other things. Like those were the reasons that I made poor decisions in my life. Instead of looking in the mirror or like at this camera right now and seeing my reflection and being like, no, girl, it was you. You picked that bottle up. You poured those drinks. You thought you were okay and that you were going to skip the family curse. So, continuing on, right? Okay, so back to where I was going. Anyways, it was me that made those bad choices, those bad decisions. There's really there's never an excuse for it, but there's an explanation, if that makes sense. So anyways, I've heard of when people get sober that they can you know, get addicted to gambling or smokes or, shopping, which actually occurred. That happened. That was part of my thing. I started, you know, becoming addicted. Even though I was working the program, I was becoming addicted to shopping, and not just shopping, but like bargain shopping, like penny deals. If anyone knows what a penny deal is, it's the best thing in the world, best feeling. Where you, like Walmart, Target, these big stores, right? They no longer really will mark things past like 80% off. But sometimes things will be on the shelf for a while and they'll get ignored or overturned, and you can use your phone, the app, and scan, and they'll come up for like pennies on the dollar, like 99.5% off. And I think it has to do with not only the rush it gave me of finding these good deals, but also when you lose your home and most of the stuff in it, like I just wanted to, material things became like a safety. And I'm still dealing with that. I'm shopping online all the time now. Like material things, I, to me, equal something. I don't know why. Um, Other than I don't want anyone to be able to take things away from me again. So I had the pro. I still though, like I said, I'll find a good deal, and if let's say it's laundry detergent, if it's like 80% off or whatever, I have to buy every single one on the shelf. I just have to. And I know it's silly, but the way I look at it, I'm like, well, this is actually like saving money in the long run, because we're gonna need it at some point. You know, might as well buy now. Like I have so many shampoos, and it's ridiculous, and I end up donating a lot of it. So that actually got me in trouble. Like a few years ago, it with Walmart, I had found some penny deals, and I had loaded up the cart. I was so excited because I also thought like I could turn this into a business of like reselling things. And you know, they I got accused of altering price tags. They they were like, this stuff wasn't supposed to be on clearance, and I'm like, well, that's not my fault. Like I didn't put the stickers on there, but they thought I did on it, and like so I was arrested. I They didn't ask, they didn't even want to hear my side, nothing, and I went to court, and I remember going to court thinking like I was going to enter a plea or whatever, like, or gonna be like, I didn't think like that day was like the day to like have to decide what I was gonna do. I hadn't even met with the public defender really or nothing yet, and turned out that was the day I had to enter the plea that day. And I remember, look, if you've ever had to deal with a public defender, they work with a prosecutor all the time. A lot of them previously worked with was in the prosecutor's office or whatever. So at least in my situation, my public defender was very much gun ho on like, take a deal. And I was like, well, what's the deal? And it really wasn't a deal. There was no deal. It was like this ridiculous thing and whatnot. But I was like, no, but I'll plead NOLO, because he was like, are you willing to go? Because I was like, well, what about footage? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, it's Walmart's word against your word. Like, and are you willing to risk 12 months of jail time for that? And I'm like, 12 months of jail time? He's like, yeah, misdemeanor in Georgia is 12 months. And I just, I was scared, and I was like, nope, it's not worth 12 months of jail time. So I pled NOLO. I remember the judge being very angry that day. I don't even know if he was like taking NOLO pleas, which is, NOLO means like, it's like you're not saying you're guilty, you're not saying you're innocent, but I guess it gets marked down as guilty. But anyways, so that happened, you know, completed the probation quickly, was off of probation within a couple months. to the it like in rear view mirror, you know. And I was gonna work on getting it like hopefully expunged or whatever needed to be done. And then I guess what, last Halloween, sorry y'all, I I only have 20% hearing in my left ear, and it I have a hole in my eardrum that never healed. So anyways, I can hear myself talk and I don't like it. Last Halloween or maybe the year, I don't know. I'm so bad with years, y'all. It's not even funny. But don't even ask me how old I am on certain days because I cannot tell you. But we have Amazon subscribe and save, because if you get all your stuff from Amazon once a month, you get an extra 15% off. That's that deal shopper in me. And so the last day of the month, of course, is Halloween, same day. Kind of dumb because trick or treat, whatever, people are going to see that. Maybe they innocently really thought it was part of trick or treat. I highly doubt it. Doesn't matter. So package is gone. Luckily, we have security footage, and I called local PD, and they came out for the police report, and I luckily had, like I said, security footage, good, like taken care of. But then they were like, how do you like say your last name? What's what's your birthday again? All this stuff, and it didn't hit me what's going on until they're like, well, it looks like you got a warrant for shoplifting from Target. And I was like, what? Excuse moi? And they said my husband too. And my husband immediately dismissed. And then this time I was like, I'm not going to admit to something I did not do. I'm not doing it this time. I refuse. And so I spoke to the public defender, and luckily I was able to have a great one that actually, he's not even a public defender anymore, but great attorney. If you ever are in trouble in the state of Georgia, I will hook you up with him. He is A plus. He believes in me. Luckily, there was surveillance footage, which just actually made everything great, because then they were able to see I did nothing wrong. Went jury trial, all for April 27th, and the 28th was the jury trial. And after the state presented their case, we presented our case, everything. Jury deliberated for like 20, maybe 30 minutes, came back, not guilty. Not guilty. I was like, finally, I have a little hope more in the justice system. But so that was that situation. Now, I still have a problem with shopping, like to this day, that I'm very aware of. I still have low self-esteem. I do not like the way I look. I do not just the way I look. I don't like the way I feel inside either. Like I don't like me. I don't. I'm self-aware enough to know I really don't like me. I've struggled with an eating disorder most of my life. I've struggled with the being image conscious. You know, like I remember I got my nose and my lips done in 2017. I had a fat transfer, so I don't get injections in my lips. But it was because when I was 19 and I had my chest done, um, my biological mother was like, "Those look good, but you need your nose done next because it's too wide for your face." And she wasn't wrong. She wasn't wrong, but it still hurt to hear that. So I did what I needed to get it done. Um, it's just part of who I am. I, I'm not perfect at all, and in fact, I would say I'm opposite. I'm very imperfect, and I wish I liked myself as the way I see other people love their self, like have that self love. But maybe one day we'll see. So, continuing on about me. Aren't y'all tired to hear about me yet? Because I'm tired about talking about myself. But anyways, yeah, like the eating disorder, and then like I have an autoimmune disorder, which I blame myself for, even though I know that's irrational thinking, but it's my thinking, because I look at it like they said it's probably always been in my body dormant, but it would not have came out if like it did if my implant had not ruptured. And so I'm like, that's my fault. I got them ruptured, and I've had 4 surgeries the last years. To every year I've had surgery to correct and try to get all this silicone out of me. Y'all, this last time, just to save a buck because insurance is not covering, I did not go under. No anesthesia at all. And that was stupid of me to do. But I also did not fill my pain medication prescription. Don't want to take it because I knew I that would probably just be steps backwards. So yeah, like that happened. And I my husband was in the hospital last year and literally almost died. They said that if he had not gone in 20, if he had waited 24 more hours, he would not be here today. And that makes me feel horrible because I was like thinking he was being a crybaby and over exaggerating and stuff, not realizing that, it was hurting when he was breathing. I thought maybe like he had a respiratory infection, but no, he had pulmonary embolism. Pulmonary embolisms. It was the scariest moment of my life. And I will say, I love this community for being for surrounding me during that moment because I was, you know, listening on a Discord call with a lot of y'all who were making me like laugh and stuff once he was at ICU and taking my mind off of what was going on. So that was scary. And what is even more scary is like he has to see a pulmonologist every month as well as his other doctor I can't think of right now. And sometimes he will miss his appointment. I'm like, this is something you cannot miss. Like, we need you. Me and your son needs you around. Like, you are my family. You are the love of my life. And so that just showed me how fragile life could be. And at the same time, I was also kind of freaking out because I just wanted, I was always worried what happened with me, with my dad, and me would have, that would happen to with my son and my husband. Not that my husband is an addict. It's just I was always scared because every man in my life has passed away or I felt like abandoned me. I know, how selfish am I? How selfish am I to think that their passing away was abandoning me? That's just how my brain works. And so that's why I say, like, I try to be a good person, but I'm not. Like, I wish I was. I wish I was more of a decent human being, but like, y'all, I I know that I instantly judge someone right when I look at them and stuff, and I have to remind myself, like, who am I to judge anyone? I'm no one to be in the position to judge anyone, and yes, this is a lot about me, but what I will tell you I'm not is I'm no longer a horrible person like I thought I was. I'm no longer a liar. I'm no longer a an like I'm no longer like just unwell, toxic human being like I was before. And I worked really hard on that, and I'm a work in progress. I'll never be like perfect, but I will tell you this: I will always, for the rest of my life, when it comes to children and elderly, I don't mess around there. If anyone takes advantage of children or elderly, I will lose my mind. I know there's rumors about me out there, something about fraud with elderly or checks. I don't know. Wrong person. I don't know. I was even curious myself, so I was Googled because I'm the Google queen. I Googled and I saw someone with my same first and last name, but different middle name that did do that. And that makes me sick to my stomach to think people are like that. If you have a child or children, and I know the community, a lot of y'all in the community know that I am like this, because if you tell me that they need food, I will do what I can. If I have it, I will give it. If if I don't have it, I'm like, what sizes do they wear? Do they need, shampoo? These, blah, blah, let me send you a package. I've sent packages to people for children. Yeah. And I've even sent a package to someone who, is not my business, but it did take me by surprise when I was like, I'm going to send this for your children. And they were like, you can buy me stuff too, which I would have, of course, put something in there too for the adult, but to me, children and the elderly and animals, especially I'm a dog person. If you mess with children, elderly, or dogs, me and you will probably never be friends. I'm not going to hate you, but I will never be friends with you, because I was raised by the most wonderful person. My Nana was amazing and is amazing. She's 80 years old, works still, is working. You know, my children, my aunt, who unfortunately was diagnosed last year with ALS, she was a foster mom. She adopted children. Like, she is like the most beautiful person I know of, and I wish I was more like her. And then dogs, like, when we lost our dogs, we lost both within a year, and went to go rescue a new one for our son for Christmas. I could not walk out of there without getting two dogs. And we asked, there's a third that we said, if he doesn't get adopted, call us and we'll take him. Luckily, he was adopted, because I don't know what we were thinking, but my husband's like me. Like, we're not going to turn down animals, like, especially dogs. We're dog people. We love them. So, like I said, I'm Charlee. I'm a mom to a kick rock child son. I don't want to put his name out there or anything like that. I will, though. I'm going to give him, like, I'm going to give him his flowers, as you want to say or not. My foot went asleep. He is supposed to be going into the 10th grade next year. And he actually just graduated high school. So we'll be watching him walk this year and going into college next year. So that's great for him. And I'm also going to say I'm not just a great mom, I'm a great teacher, because I homeschooled that child this last year. So I'm a mom, I'm a teacher, I'm a wife. Those are the things I've done right in my life that I can be proud of. And I'm Charlee, aka Not Sorry Charlee. I'm not Zombie Mom. I'm not Becca. I'm not any of these other names. People, there's another Not Sorry Charlee, or sorry. I'm not those. I'm just one account on TikTok and YouTube, and I really just like true crime, and mainly because I am fascinated by the stories, but also because I relate to a lot of the victims and the situations that are ongoing in the world. But I am no longer ever going to classify myself as a victim. I'm also a survivor. I'm a survivor of child, of CA, of SA as a child, of SA as an adult. I'm a survivor of addiction. I'm a survivor, because we are the last of a dying breed. And that's me. That's me. And love me or hate me, I'm starting to like myself a little bit more every day. Just a little bit more every day. And one day, maybe I will love myself. But until then, I'm going to keep on trying. So I hope y'all have a great day. Love y'all. And I'll talk to you later. Bye. See y'all later.